Well, when you've got the shanks, Ben, you don't really want anyone else seeing them.
Just what you want. From those who are closest to you, everyone telling you look like crap. It just warms the cockles of your heart,
The
doesn't it?
experience was unbelievable. The golf was even better. Ben, I'm sorry you weren't there. Well, I'm not sorry.
Yeah. She's done me yet again. I thought I had her covered there, and she's absolutely stitched me. It was exactly the type of performance you expect of someone who's won a national championship.
I incredibly admire the man. He's cast a long shadow that I think I'm going to be forever chasing.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for your company on yet another episode of Hooked on Sport. Golf has never been stronger in South Australia, and this is the podcast where the game in this state and beyond gets the attention it deserves. I'm Ben Hook. I'm alongside Sophie Hilditch, who delivers all of her expertise and insight, uncovering everything that makes golf in this state and beyond so special. Soph, g'day. How's your day been?
Yeah, not too bad, Ben. Can't complain. I've just been working all day, but it's such a beautiful day outside. I actually wish I'd been hitting up the golf course.
Yeah, surprised that you've relented to coming and have an online chat with me rather than being out there hitting a few, because it is a pretty spectacular day. Mind you, I don't think I could swing a golf club or anything right now, frankly. I will tell you very briefly, I have had my first ever personal training session today. Got a mate who moonlights in the personal training space, and he works not far from me, just down the road. So I thought, I'll go in and I'll have a session with him. And he said, yeah, just an introductory one, Hookie. It'll be pretty straightforward. I'll just get a bit of an idea of what your capabilities are. I walked out of there exhausted. It was cruel and unusual punishment what he put me through for about an hour and a quarter. I've been just sort of lying in the fetal position in the couch for the last hour and a half. I try to push myself off and my arms don't work anymore. So if I slump out of this chair at some point during our chat, Soph, you'll understand why. I'm feeling very, very flat right now.
Yeah, the first one is always a false sense of security, Hookie.
Yes.
You whenever they say it's not going to be that hard, always prepare for yourself that it's going to be extra hard, and it's never easy. They just want to get you in the door, and then once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, and the other thing I felt a little bit bad about as well was that he said come in at 10 o'clock on a Monday, and of course with my shift work schedule, that's not really too difficult, but I was in the same sort of training group in the room with a few, let's say, more senior citizens around Adelaide, Soph, including one who came in on a walking frame. So that was where he grouped me with, I suspect. I don't think that was an accident or a coincidence. So anyway, I've got to try and just increase my output each week to see if I can get myself out of the walking frame group and maybe into somewhere a little bit more athletic. Hey, so a couple of serious notes, because we have quite a bit of news. A little bit of it is personal news. And I think it will probably start with what I would regard as the sad news, first of all, and that is that after 6 years, Wallace Long has decided to move on from the Hooked on Sport podcast. Tough news to deal with this week. We completely understand. He's got so much more on his plate. He's got a few of his own projects. One of them is with Dave Meadows, who, ironically enough, comes from Royal Adelaide, but does this incredible charity barbecue program around Australia. I know Wallace is heavily involved in that. He's taking on more clients, and whether he feels like we're a little bit more self-sufficient now or not, maybe that's the case. But look, we are going to miss him, sadly. Soph, I know you're a relative newcomer to Hooked on Sport, but Wallace and I were doing this together 6 years ago, and it was really driven solely by him saying, why don't we give this a crack? So he really is the grandfather or the father of it, if you like. He's been such a great mentor to me. We'll obviously remain great friends, but I'll remain someone who will always, look to utilise Wallace as a real sounding board and, point of reference for where we're at and what we're doing. So if you I'm sure you would have similar thoughts. You've come and worked with us only in about the last 12 months, but Wallace has been an incredible support, encouragement, but also leader for us as well. And we will miss him in this space.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm completely going to miss Wallace, though. Like you said, he's still going to be a friend. Hopefully we can actually have some more rounds of golf rather than just talking over a Teams link. But he was huge. Yeah, you're right. I only jumped on about 12 months ago, and I didn't actually obviously knew Wallace from the club, but didn't know him that closely. And so particularly going to the Aussie Open with Wallace was so much fun. He taught me so much, and I hope he continues to be a bit of a mentor to me and help me out wherever I need it, which I'm sure Wallace will. He's so lovely and so dedicated. But yeah, learn a lot from Wallace, respect his decision completely. So many more clients, so many new clients, incredibly busy man. But the impact he's had on Hooked on Sport has been huge, and I'm sure it's going to be carried on into the future.
Your point's well made. I mean, you've come on 12 months ago and you have improved with your capacity to deliver information to our listeners in leaps and bounds. And that's 80% at your own capacity to learn and develop and just grow in the space. But, Wallace, I think, has been really significant with sort of coaching you and encouraging you, and a little bit more of this, a little bit less of that, I think has been really important as well. So yeah, we are certainly going to miss Wallace. And as I said, we will remain very, very close as friends, and no doubt we'll see him on the golf course very soon. That being said, Soph, we do have some more news, which is tremendously exciting, and perhaps you can officially share with our listeners what we've got ahead of us for at least the next 3 or 4 months and maybe beyond.
Oh, well, we're absolutely thrilled to welcome the Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron as the newest partner of Hooked on Sport. And now, before you say I don't own a yacht, trust me, I also don't own a yacht, and that's exactly the point. The squadron isn't just for the sailors. I know you've got your fire boat out the front, so I've
That's
seen
right.
you there a few times, Hookie, but my first time was pretty recent. It's one of Adelaide's greatest hidden waterfront venues with a spectacular deck overlooking the marina, a fantastic upstairs restaurant, Jimmy's bar for a relaxed drink, and plenty of space for the kids to run around. Whether that's a Friday lunch, dinner, a catch up with friends, or your next function, you've got to do yourself a favour and discover the Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron. I enjoyed it immensely as my first visit, and I'm actually very excited for my next visit, not just because they've become a partner of Hooked on Sport, but just because the food was spectacular, Hookie.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that people would automatically think Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron, this is a place where the public can go, but it is open to the public. The gates are open all the time. Yes, it is a little bit out of the way, but I guarantee you, once you are there, it is 100% worth the trip. The food and beverage options are spectacular, but it's the views for me, Soph. And the other thing I'll say about it is that deck, even in winter, that deck undercover, and it's really beautifully designed so it's protected from the prevailing wind. So I think you can sit out there on a day like today. Just imagine what it would be like. It would be absolutely perfect. Little bit of sun, winds coming out of the southwest. You're completely protected from it. Have a little bit of music going in the background. The bar's not too far away. It is just a wonderful place that you would never even dream of attending, but it is a wonderful place. Take the family, whether it's a Friday lunch, Friday dinner, whatever it is, drink on a Sunday. It's just a superb place to be. Not one you would automatically think of, but one I recommend you give a go to. There is one little trick. Just remember, this is the one with the gates open on Victoria Road at Outer Harbour. There is one back down Lady Gowrie Drive where the gates are closed. They don't like letting in the public, as far as I can tell. Don't go there. Make sure you're heading to the Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron on Victoria Road at Outer Harbour. Once you're there, the views are spectacular. The food is perfect. It's so welcoming. It's so relaxing. It's just a beautiful spot to be. We encourage you to make a trip to the Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron. Big thank you to Hayley Hunt, golfing friend of yours in particular, Soph, and an acquaintance of mine, if you like, that she's really been, she's a listener, has been keen to support what we are doing. So she's a golfer like us. So yes, go in there and say that you listen to our podcast. You're a Hooked on Sport fan, and I'm sure that they will absolutely look after you. And in fact, I think by the end of the week, and we'll probably formally announce this next week, Soph, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a discount special. If you book online, they've got new caterers that start in just a couple of days. And so if you book online and put Hooked in your booking, you'll automatically receive 10% off your bill at the end of your meal. So more than one reason just to go, not because we're telling you, but because you're going to get a very, very good deal as well.
Oh, and it's already so reasonable. 10% more is just incredible, Ben.
Yeah, no, absolutely superb. So thank you to Hayley Hunt. Thank you to the Royal South Australian Yacht Squadron. We will be partnering with them right throughout the rest of the winter and spring season. Let's talk some golf, Soph. And your great mate, Becky Stupley, has taken out the Grange Varden yesterday.
Yeah, incredible. She's actually dominating the South Australian Vardens at the moment, shooting 1 under. I reckon it was at Grange East. It was an incredible performance. It's also straight after a hole-in-one at the Metropolitan Golf Club in Victoria, which she'll
Yes.
probably hate me mentioning, but I know she's very thrilled. She's getting a bit of pushback from people saying she wasn't in the comp, but you know what? It's still a hole-in-one, and it's followed by an amazing win at the Grange Varden.
Yeah, played superbly. I reckon I've got the rest of the winners in here, Soph. I can see that Alan Zinn might have taken out the junior boys. Ross Steedman's got a trophy there as well. And a very young lad who I can't recognise in the photos. Do you have any idea on who that might be? Let's have a look here.
You're going to have to show me the photo.
I've got Alan Zinn defeating Patrick Fisher on the first playoff hole to defeat the men's title. So I reckon that might be Patrick Fisher over in that shot, Ross Steedman there as well. But congratulations to our good mate, Becky Stutley, who we're very proud of. She heading back to college soon?
Yeah, she's heading back at around halfway through August, similar time to when Reagan gets back and heads on out. And she's just changed colleges, actually. She used to be with the Jacks, but she's now with South Alabama. So she's off for a different start and a different journey, and I wish her all the best. So I'm always happy when Becky comes back. I love playing rounds of golf with her, and her game is improved so much over the past 2 years. It's actually incredible to watch her grow as a player. She's hitting the ball about 50 metres further. She used to hit the ball about 10 metres further than me. So now, unfortunately, it's 60, but it's incredible to see.
Yeah, absolutely, Soph. There's a couple of other trophy winners from around South Australian golf over the weekend. Emily Giotis and Heath Riches, friends of the pod, had to give them a mention. They've combined to win the Kooyonga mixed foursomes. They did it in style too. They won it by 9 strokes as well. Soph, and Elaine Trenorda was part of the runner-up team. Her mum, a good friend of mine as well. So congratulations to Emily and Heath, both superstars of their pennant program. I've got a bit of a watch on Emily, Soph, and you will have seen her up closer than me, but she has got the length and the power as a great base of her game. I think she's just turned 21, so she's not like some of these young teenagers that we see that are really making the most of the game. But if she can just harness those other aspects of the game, approach play, putting, a little bit of chipping, and you would know this, I just can see her as potentially pushing for one of those SA Open team spots in maybe the next year or two, because I think she's still got she's a very mature young woman, and she's got a lot of game development still within her scope.
Yeah, she's a delightful girl as like the first point of view. She's insane to play against because she's so friendly, always cheering you on as well as cheering on herself, obviously. But her length is unbelievable. You don't see many professional golfers hitting it as far as what Emily does. She's busy though. She is a med student, but what she's been able to do with her game over the past 2 years whilst doing med at exactly the same time. And I think she's got hopes at the moment with going into orthopedics, or at the moment that's what it is. You know, with med students, it can always change, but she's got her work cut out for her in med, but her game is just improving exponentially. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's someone that the SA selectors will be looking at next year.
The Vines Golf Club of Ranella's Paul Gregory, good friend of ours, Soph. We've partnered with him in the Golf SA versus ADF match over the last couple of years. Well, he's headed up north with his partner, Amanda Heapy, and he's taken out the senior section of the Hahn Darwin Open. That was played at the Darwin Golf Club 54-hole event. He won it by 5 strokes, shot 235 over the 54 holes to win by 5. So to head up there, and of course he probably doesn't know that well, and clean out all of the locals, that's an outstanding performance. And yeah, Paul always gets grumpy when I mention him on the podcast. He always sort of suggests that I'm, sledging him or something like that. So yes, Paul, you are an old bugger. You are a crotchety old fella, but you're a darn good golfer, mate. Congratulations on your title up there at the Vines. Good fella, isn't he, Paul?
No, great guy. Absolutely love Paul Gregory, and I love his partner, Amanda Heapy, as well. Great couple.
A couple of holes in one that I just want to start getting on the agenda, Soph, and we're going to encourage listeners to get in contact with us. My email address, hook_shots@yahoo.com.au. And if you've had a hole in one, let us know about it, because we're going to put people in the draw each week, because we could be sending you off to the Royal Yacht Squadron with a special prize. So I just wanted to sound out a couple this week. Jonathan Creasy had a hole in one on the 2nd at Tea Tree Gully. It's his 3rd career hole-in-one, Soph, but how about this? His 2nd in 4 months. I think he had one in April, and now he's had another one in July. That's just greedy, Crease. He's an interesting guy, played a bit of pennant for Tea Tree Gully, but his background in elite sport is unusual. He's a former AFL boundary umpire. He did over 300 games in the AFL, 4 grand finals. So, one of the elites of the elites. You need to understand what an athlete you need to be an AFL boundary umpire, and the quality of runner he is. So to be that good as a runner and then that good a golfer, I'm a little bit frustrated with him. But congratulations to John O'Creasy. Good young man. Well, I think he only just turned 50, to be fair. So way to celebrate your birthday is to have a hole-in-one. Then I just recognised Richard Steele as well. He had a hole-in-one on the weekend. This is one of those... how would I say, bittersweet types of holes-in-ones, because he won the $463 jackpot up there at the Vines. If he'd had it 2 weeks earlier, he would have won $3 grand. So, what might have been. But congratulations to Richard Steele, who had a hole-in-one on the 14th out there at the Vines. Soph, why don't we get into some golf talk? I think the most obvious story right now is where we are at with LIV Golf. You get varying reports on that it is still powering on in some form next year, and other reports that say they could be shuttering the doors within the next couple of months. I don't think we're going to stick our neck out and say that we know definitively one or the other, but there has been a fresh set of challenges over the course of the past couple of weeks. So first of all, the Asian Tour has announced that it's going to link up with the PGA Tour, which means that you suspect it's going to drop its international series links with LIV Golf. Martin Keimer announced, or certainly let slip, that it looks like the team's finale is likely to be cancelled. So that was scheduled as LIV Michigan, the final event of the year, but that seems like it is almost certainly not happening. None of the infrastructure built, and they're only a month out. And then there was another report from from Flushing at Golf, I beg your pardon, who said that he's of the understanding that there are 7 guys, whether it goes ahead or not, are going to be leaving LIV Golf next year. They're talking about maybe a 10-event, $10 million per event tour, but when you think, that's still good quality money for a golf tournament, right? In particular, if there's only 50 odd in the field. But when you consider that's about a third of the prize money that they're going to issue this year, that certainly is a big step back. I'm sure you've read it all. I'm sure you're like me. It's very difficult to know definitively which way this is going to go. But what is your take on everything that we've heard about LIV Golf in the last 2 weeks?
Well, like you said, and I preface it with this, you don't know what LIV's going to do. I don't think no one knows what LIV's going to do. At the moment, they still don't have an investor putting pen to paper at the moment, which is what I'm really concerned with. And they've only got a few more weeks to actually get that over the line for the LIV to be able to continue. So, I mean, the Asian Tour linking with the PGA, I think, is probably one of the biggest concerns for them. The PGA shortening their season as well, and players now wanting to come and play the national opens like the Aussie Open or the New Zealand Open. I mean, LIV is kind of losing that draw card that they had with being that main presence on the Asian Tour, or the Australasian Tour, I should say. And what I will be interested to see is, now that the Australian Open is linked with the PGA and we're expecting to have bigger names and bigger players over here, what do the Australians want to do? Do they want to go and see like the LIV players, where LIV was making so much money from Adelaide LIV? Or are you going to go and watch the Australian Open and see some of your PGA players who, quite frankly, are just performing better in the majors than what these LIV players are doing? I don't know. It's a bit of a conundrum. Personally, I don't see LIV lasting much longer. That's just me. But again, I'm just trying to work out what's going on, just like everyone else.
So there's a couple of issues here. One is that they're clearly having trouble paying some bills. I understand that. But at the same time, when you have built your whole presence on being a team event, and then you're going to get to the grand finale team event, you can't afford to put it on. That is of massive concern to me. I think what will be interesting as well, Soph, what does happen if it does fold or people do want out? Cameron Smith and Lucas Herbert are the two that I think are really interesting to see where they end up. So Mark Leishman probably retires and starts to think about senior tour golf, and you would no problem with that. You would accept that that's probably where he's at his career. And Elvis Smiley, we know, is a current member of the DP World Tour, so he's going to retain that membership, you would imagine. But Lucas Herbert, as well as he's playing at the moment, doesn't really have any status on any tour right now. He could be looking for a job somewhere. He could be heading to, the Holiday Planner Tour on the European Secondary Tour, which would be, a long way back from where he's been playing major championships and succeeding. And of course, he's just won LIV UK by 6 shots overnight. And then Cameron Smith. So he still has what you would regard as PGA Tour status because he's won a major in the last, we won in 2022. So that would carry him through to the end of 2027, but there's every likelihood that he'll be serving a 1-year penalty throughout 2027. So unless he can win a major or somehow find a way to win maybe the Scottish Open or something like that that would allow him in, I just don't see where he's going to find some status next year as well. The other one that's really interesting to me is Joaquin Niemann, one of the best players on LIV, and he also has no status in the US and no status in Europe. And you just wonder how these guys are going to find a job if they're not playing on LIV, and probably why I still think that maybe there's a possibility that, you know, a 10-week, 10-tournament, 100 million total prize money tour won't be a bad option for some people.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a bad option. I'm just more worried about the sustainability of it. Like, I understand that these players have got nowhere else to go, but am I really interested in watching maybe 3 elite players compete against themselves and, you know, some potential newcomers who haven't quite made it? I don't know. That's more my concern than where the players are going, is actually just whether or not LIV is at all going to be something that spectators want to watch and therefore sustainable into the far future. Maybe it's sustainable in the near future, but, you know, in 5 years, I don't know if LIV's going to be around.
Let's move on, Soph, because, it is all a little bit depressing, in particular because, you know, it means a lot to us in Adelaide. It really did turn around our town as a professional golf city. And, if that either walks into a complete brick wall shortly or becomes just a total shadow of its former self, I think we'll be satisfied with the memories it's created. But, it would be sad to really see it on its last legs or with no legs at all in the coming months. I guess it'll remain to be seen. So on the PGA Tour, as you've identified, it wasn't a particularly riveting tournament. The 3M played at TPC Twin Cities. Just give us your 1-minute overview of what happened.
Well, I'm not absolutely a fan of birdie fest golf, and this was definitely birdie fest golf. It's exactly what American golf is like. It's bomb and gouge and softer greens, so they're spinning back and they're getting all these easy birdies. But if there was going to be one that was going to tip me over the edge a little bit, it was this. It was watching that 21-year-old Jackson Coyven.
Yep.
He gave an unexpected win. He recently dropped out of college. This is his 3rd ever PGA event, first time in the final group on a Sunday, and he managed to fend off an absolutely hot Scotty Scheffler coming down that stretch. Jackson was 3 back coming into the final round. He shot a 5 under, completely blemish-free, and to his own credit, he's openly said he saw Scheffler on that scoreboard and he knew he was making a charge, and he actually just brought himself straight back to the basics, went for middle of the green, went for pars, and said if there's a birdie in there somewhere, that's great. And I just think that's composure far beyond a 21-year-old and far beyond someone who's just joined the PGA Tour. So it was exceptional to see. Everyone's already calling him a prodigy, so hopefully he can live up to those expectations. They're pretty tough expectations to live up to, but defending off Scotty Scheffler is absolutely incredible.
Let me just take you through what happened very quickly on LIV. We've already referenced it, but Lucas Herbert has taken out the tournament after a wire-to-wire victory. He took it out by 6 shots. His final round was a 10 under 62. Talk about birdie fest. He finishes at 30 under, the lowest winning score in LIV Golf League history. Clearly, they don't listen to us, Soph, and our opinions on these flat tracks that they play them on. Set league records with 30 birdies and 32 combined birdies and eagles during the event. He won by 6 from Tyrrell Hatton, who shot just a lazy 9 under 63 to still finish 6 short. Bryson DeChambeau was in the mix, as was Abe Answer and Caleb Surratt. And the Ripper GC team won the competition at 52 under. Cam Smith showed something which was great, so they were 4 shots clear of John Rahm's team, Legion 13. And a little bit further again of Crushers GC, Bryson DeChambeau's team. So another big Aussie win for on LIV for the Rippers. I think that's their 3rd individual event win this year. We've seen one to Elvis Smiley and now 2 to Lucas Herbert.
That's exactly right.
Take us through what happened in the Women's Scottish Open, which wasn't without its share of controversy.
Yeah, Jenny Shin was victorious at Dundonald Links, and there was bagpipes and champagne playing for her once she tapped in her final, which was a bogey putt on the last par 5. It was a 3-shot victory, which on paper, I reckon listeners are going to be thinking that sounds incredibly boring, but it was completely far from it. Through the first 3 holes, Jenny was 8 shots ahead of the pack. By the turn, she only had a 2-shot lead, and that was actually a miraculous only 2-shot lead. It looked like it was about to be reduced to 1, having to sink a very lengthy par putt. And she was anything but steady on that back 9. It was quite terrifying to watch. She kind of looked like anything could happen. I got to say, she took one of the fastest rulings I've ever seen on 16 when I was playing it live. And all I had to do was think of Bryson DeChambeau in the moment because she called over the rules official, and I think she was trying to claim she looked like she was on some tracks, I think.
Yep.
And it was literally the rules official just went, no free drop. And she just went, yep, okay, and then just hit the shot. And
Done.
there was
Yeah.
absolutely no complaint. It was done. I tried my best. Went to see if I could get a penalty drop, and I couldn't. And I went, not penalty drop, a free drop.
Yep.
I couldn't. That is what it is. Complete opposite to the Bryson DeChambeau antics, which I found quite hilarious and fascinating to watch. But this is Jenny Shin's first LPGA win from her previous LPGA win in over a decade. She's actually spoken about how she's had to battle these mental demons and actually had the yips in her golf swing where she couldn't bring herself to bring the club back. And I reckon there is a lot of listeners out there who've experienced those kind of yips or experienced the shanks, I hate to say it, or experienced something along those lines. And to still keep battling it out on the LPGA and not really making any headway, and then to finally have this win, I think it's incredible. Her biggest rival was actually Aileen Kim, who was outstanding, had 4 consecutive birdies from the 9th hole, but then her putter went completely cold. It was like the complete opposite. Over the last 6 holes, could not sink a single thing, and it ended up being that Jenny Shin was victorious and an absolutely outstanding finish.
Take me through the Aussies. The last one we'll get to will be Minjee Lee, and we might just get a word from you on her because I'm worried.
Yeah, well, our best performing Aussie was Hannah Green with a T31. She actually shot 2 under in the final round. There weren't many people under the card at the Scottish Open. It was extremely windy. The beanies were out on the girls, the long pants, a lot of ear muffs as well, which I love to see. Grace Kim was T44 and Robin Choi at T56, but everyone else, Ben, miscut by a substantial way.
Yeah. Minjee Lee is the one we probably need to talk about. I think she was 13 over after the first round and then withdrew after being 6 over halfway through her second round. That's un-Minjee Lee-like. Say that again, sorry?
It was 10 over, not 6 over. She finished 23 over when she withdrew.
I beg your pardon. Okay, maybe I realised it was going bad and couldn't bring myself to look any more than that. And maybe she's injured, but clearly she is well out of form at the moment. Are you worried for her heading into the Open this week?
Oh, I'm completely worried for her. I mean, 2025 has been a shocker for her. It's 3 missed cuts, 2 withdrawals, and I think it's only 2 top 5 finishes in 10 starts. So it's definitely not the 2026 that she wanted. I think I said 2025 before, but we're in 2026. Trying to forget that we're in 2026 at the moment. But I am worried for her. I mean, the Scottish Open, there were a lot of great players that missed the cut. I mean, I had to watch Charlie Hull have a 15-foot birdie putt and then make a 9 on one of the par 5s. So it wasn't an easy course to be playing. You had to be accurate. You had to be patient. You had to be particularly careful with a lot of your downhill putts. But Minjee is just not having the season that we wanted to see. And I'm worried that this withdrawal from an illness, which hasn't been released what that is, it could be an injury or it could be a stomach bug for all we know. I think it might be something a little bit more sinister than that.
Yeah, sick of the game at the moment, maybe. It's sort of hard to believe that she has just fallen off so significantly like she has, and we hope she can recover quickly. Take us through what happened at the Canadian Amateur, where our own Reagan Denton was in action as a winner the week before.
We really just spoke to Reagan last week, which is absolutely great to hear her voice again. I haven't heard from her in a while, so I was really excited to speak to her about how well she's been going in the US, and it's another outstanding performance. It was a T31. She had a bit of a rocky start with, a round that I'd be quite happy with, but she wouldn't be happy with. But in a final round 3 under, which is exceptional to see, seeing as she's coming into the USAM, and that's exactly where she wanted to see is her game going back up into that trend. I can't imagine what it's like to have a win and then have to roll straight back into your next event, and I'm sure you're still coming down from that high. So I think that's exactly what we saw coming from Reagan. But we had a lot of Australians perform at the Canadian Amateur, which is also exceptional to see. Jazzy Roberts and Ellis Gaze were both T9, but we had 11 people competing and 9 of them made the cut. And I think There's something about the women's golf in Australia at the moment. We're just going gun blazing. And I know we've had some LPGA players not performing like the Hannah Greens like we would like to see, with the exception of last week for Hannah Green. But I don't know. I just feel like women's golf in Australia is in exceptional hands at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely right, Soph. And of course, they'll all have a couple of days off heading towards this weekend, and then early next week they get into the US Amateur, which is a real slogfest because it'll be 2 qualifying rounds and then what I think it might be 64 match play places. So it is a real marathon. So we look forward to following how Reagan performs in that, as well as the other Australians, of course, Jazzy Roberts and Ellis Gaysbrook, as you identified. We expect to have right up there as well. In the meantime, though, it will be the AIG British Women's Open. Massive tournament at a wonderful golf course. Just give us your early thoughts there.
Well, it's the 50th anniversary for the AIG Open, so it's an absolute big open. It will be one of my favourite weeks of the year when it comes to golf. It's going to Royal Lytham in St Anne's, which is just an exceptional venue. It's hosted a lot of men's open. It's hosted 2 Ryder Cups. It's held the Women's Open 6 times, and the last time being in 2018 when Georgia Hull got the win, which I know a lot of the English were exceptionally happy about. Georgia Hull's just coming off having her first child, so she'll be there and she'll be there performing, but I don't know how well that will be. She's openly spoken about this week how difficult it is to come back from the game having a baby, and how your hormones are changing, how your body is changing, and it's completely changing the whole time, and you never really know what you're about to get. But I'm so excited to see this event here. It's exactly what I like to see from Links Golf. It's known for its clever bunkering. It has 174 pot bunkers.
174?
174. The first hole was actually a par 3, which is surrounded by 7 bunkers, and I think it's an excellent start to the course. You see exactly what you're about to hit. But what I'm looking forward to is, unlike when we were at Birkdale for the men, where the rough was burnt out, we didn't get the wind, the conditions were quite benign, and they could hit driver when they wanted to, we're actually going to see the girls playing this course as it was designed to be played, because all those pot bunkers are in play. And if you go back and look at some of the opens that were hosted by the men back in the day, as well as the women, those bunkers are a massive punishment and come into play. So it will dictate tee shots. It will dictate people not wanting to go for pins. And I think we're going to have just an incredible AIG Open for the women.
Just before I let you get off the rest of the AIG Women's Open, who do you think is going to be the best performed Aussie?
Look, I can't ignore Hannah Green's performance, having a 2 under in that final round, where I think there was only a handful of people that got under the card. She's hard to say that she won't be performing at the AIG Women's Open. I think Links Golf in the Open is really suited to Australians. It's very similar to what we experience on the Melbourne Sandbelt. You'll be dealing with coastal winds. You'll be dealing with winds coming from all sorts of different directions, often changing mid-round and having to change your tactic a little bit. But I'm going to have to go Karis Davidson. I know she missed the cut at the Scottish Open, but it's really hard not to not go past her now. She's been performing at every single major. There's something in the air when Karis David is stepping onto the major tournaments, because she is just performing exceptionally under the pressure, I should say. You want to lean towards our bigger names, but I think it's time, Ben, where we got to start looking at some of these Aussies that are just starting to peep up on the LPGA, because they're coming to play, and Karis Davidson is definitely one of those players.
Who do you think is going to be lifting the trophy? If you had one selection, who's going to be lifting the trophy on Sunday afternoon, Monday morning our time?
One selection is so hard. There's so many players. I mean, I was looking at Yamashita, who's going to be the defending champ, and she played exceptional. She's having a good track at the majors. She was T4 at the Evian. But, I mean, it's pretty hard to be a back-to-back AIG Open winner. I think the last person was Yanni Zheng, and that was back in 2011. So I don't want to put my money on her. Charlie Hull, I really wanted to get over the line. I think all the English want to get her over the line, particularly because this is going to be played in England. But I'm going to go another English woman. I'm going Lottie Woad. I think she's such a good player. Another one who's been completely consistent. She's an absolute contender. I'm going to hedge my bets with Lottie Woad. I think this really suits her. She's a really patient player. She really takes her time, but she's an absolute ball striker, and she's got so much creativity. It's unbelievable. Watching her as an amateur and be world number 1 amateur and winning Arnois, I love watching her game, and I love seeing the type of shots that she has around the greens.
Sophie, I had elaborate plans to pick your brains on how you saw the 4 men's majors over the course of the last 3 or 4 months, but I noticed that we're already up well over half an hour, so we might park that for next week, and hopefully we'll find a little bit of a window ahead of the US Women's Amateur, where of course we're going to have a bit of a focus with Reagan involved, but we might move that to next week, and we might bump up the order, our weekly Mount Rushmore segment. I say weekly, even though we did miss out on last week because we ran for over an hour. So we are determined to try and keep things to some sort of orderly time. But the way Mount Rushmore works between Sophie and I is we pick our 4 favourite holes of a particular genre from right across South Australia. So we've done holes 1, we've done holes 2, we've done thirds right around the state, and now we're going to do our 4th hole. Soph, why don't you get us underway? If you could pick 4 holes that would go on Mount Rushmore for South Australia, what would they be?
I feel like listeners are going to start complaining to me about now, but I'm just going to,
You're going to Royal Adelaide, aren't you?
I'm going to Royal Adelaide. And if anyone doesn't know, I'm a member at Royal Adelaide, and I'm openly okay with being completely biased.
We have people who don't listen who know you're a member at Royal Adelaide.
I haven't chosen all Royal Adelaide, just so everyone is clear. I'm pretty sure my second was at Kionga. But look, yes, I'm completely biased. I'm going to 4th hole at Royal Adelaide. I've played it off absolutely every single tee at Royal Adelaide. I played it off the oranges, the greens, the reds, the whites, and the blues, and every single one of those tee shots is with its own challenges. For people who haven't played it, it's a dogleg par 4. Off the reds, I reckon it's about 330 metres, but off the blues, I'm thinking it's more like 380. It's a fair whack over an absolute crater, which I have played foursomes with your partner when she was heavily pregnant. Molly was about to come out 5 days later.
Correct.
And we had to absolutely in match play because she couldn't get the height off the tee. I had to tell you when you were on her bag that this is part of the plan. We know we won't get over the crater, and we just walked to the next hole, and we just, you call it a loss, and it's fine. It's too early.
We'll concede this one.
Yeah.
If she gets it over the crater, it's a bonus, and if not, that was always the plan. We'll just head to the 5th.
But for those biggest hitters on this par 4 at Royal Adelaide, I think it's so cool because it's rough and just absolute crap out onto your left. You do not want to hook or draw the ball there, even though the hole is playing for a baby draw. But if you block it and you go straight, you're straight into some fairway or greenside bunkers, I should say, on the second hole, and you're completely blocked out of play. The green is really clever. There's a small ridge in the middle of it, making it quite hard, but also giving you lots of different pin placements. It calls for run-on shots. It calls for lopped-on shots. It's an exceptional hole, so it is making my 4 fourth holes. I'm then going to Flagstaff, though. It's a par 5. It's quite tricky. There's a creek on the left, which is exceptionally in play because the whole fairway slopes right to left. Yep. And off the tee, it actually looks like a baby dog leg, even though it's pretty straight. So it's so tricky because it wants you to hit a draw, even though actually almost like cutting one into that slope is almost the play off the tee. And then the green's quite tricky. There's lots of little hidden slopes within that. Again, I always want to play some sort of running thing coming right to left as my second shot, trying to reach that one in 2. And often I'm ending in the creek. So a great 4th hole. I'm then going pretty close. I'm going to the Vines.
You are,
I also love this hole. So cool. You've got OB of the driving range out on the left, and I can hear people warming up. And then you have this big tree. It's another dogleg left, which you see off the tee, and you think that's where you should be aiming, but you definitely shouldn't. You should be aiming almost straight over the left-hand side to give yourself a shorter club into a 2-tiered green. And I tell you what, Ben, if you leave your putt above that hole, it's a 4-putt.
Yep.
It's a 4-putt. It's not a 3-putt. It's a 4-putt. You're almost off the green. It's so tricky and so hard. But then if you've got a flag up the top tier and you think, oh, I don't want to go long, you then have just a monstrous putt over this absolute ridge, and it's just so clever. My next hole, Mount Osmond, and it's a par 3 over the water. I'm an absolutely big fan. I find this green completely tricky. It looks really simple off the tee, but there's all these just like subtle breaks on that green, which is what I think is exceptional about it. It's not an easy putting green, and it's not an easy shot, particularly when you're only four holes in and you're not completely warmed up and not feeling completely comfortable.
Love those, Soph. And very deep green Mount Osmond. So they've got so many pin placements there as well. And it can play short. It can be a really short iron, or it can be off when the pin's right at the back. It can be, well, certainly 4-iron for me anyway.
Mhm.
The one that's interesting, Flagstaff Hill 4th, and we might relive this one day. I organised for David Cherry and Antonia Madaka, who have both got a wonderful history at Augusta National. Antonia Madaka, of course, playing the 2016 Masters, I think it was, after winning the Asia Pacific Amateur at Royal Melbourne. So I actually got those guys to just have a think about every hole in South Australia and try and pick out which one most represents each of the 18 holes at Augusta National. We did that for the paper, I reckon, around about 6 or 7 years ago. We might dig that out, Soph, and just relive that at some point, because it was an interesting project. Now, the 4th at Flagstaff Hill, we likened, or they, not me, they likened to the 2nd at Augusta National, that par 5 that sort of sweeps around to the right and has that hazard running down the left-hand side. So, yeah, really interesting contrast there, and just interesting that you picked that one out. We might dig that one out in coming months, Soph, because that would be a bit of fun. Let me share with you my Mount Rushmore very quickly. I would love to get Royal Adelaide in, but we have a bit of an unspoken rule that if Royal Adelaide gets picked off by one, we'll leave it for the other. And so I've never had an opportunity yet, sadly, for me, to be able to pick off Royal Adelaide. So I'm going to start up. Go on, Soph.
I'll give you 5 because I hate the 5th at Royal Adelaide, so it's all yours.
Well, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with a lot of holes at Royal Adelaide because they all seem to kick me in the backside. I'm going to start with Blackwood, though. The 4th hole at Blackwood is one I really like. There's a threat left and a threat right. If you try and attack it, you've got options off the tee here. You can try and bomb it over that bunker that is short left. It's sort of a right-to-left dogleg shape. So the traditional, if you want to cut off the corner, then there is trouble on your left. But there's actually out of bounds on the right if you go too long as well. And for the real big bombers, you've got to think about twice whether you really want to take on driver, because you can bring in trouble over on the right as well, in particular when the roadway is over there. So it's a really good thinking hole for anyone playing with their driver, and then I just think it's a really interesting little second shot. So you might argue that the bunkers are on the wrong side, because you probably should be encouraged by heading it over to the left and then not having quite the awkward approach of coming over those left-hand bunkers. But that's sort of the way the lay of the land is as well. So you probably can't argue with it, but I think that's a really good hole, the Blackwood 4th. I'm going to go to Kooyonga. It's not because I like this hole from the perspective of what it does to my scorecard. It absolutely breaks me every time. So I'm a left-hander, and I always feel that line of right-hand trees in my way, and I always feel that because often I hit into them as well, and then I'm left with about 270 metres for my second shot. But I think it's a really fun hole. It is a cool tee shot. It's a fun approach. It's a tricky green, and it's all surrounded by those trademark Kooyonga sand bunkers. So, yeah, I just really love that. It's a great use of their elevation change in that ridge on the course as well to come up over it. Blind shot. You've got that little white disc as the target there, but there's just so much mystery in that hole. What am I going to get when I hit it over that hill? If I hit it over that hill is a question I've always got to ask. I'm going to put in the 4th on Lady Bay, and probably people would think that this is a relatively nondescript hole. It's a bit of a blind tee shot again, plays over a small rise. Wonderful elevation for the front 9. You get beautiful views of the golf, so I love that in its own right. All of the fun comes with the approach. So if I'm not sure when was the last time you were down at Lady Bay, but this is an L-shaped green, and I'm not mucking around that it's an L-shaped green. It is genuinely L. Like, it stretches long and then wide over on the right-hand side as you look at it. There's a bunker on the left. There's a bunker in the junction of the L. So there would be plenty of situations here where you are putting, and you are putting hoping to make a 3-putt. Not just, could I maybe 2-putt this? You could have a putt where you could putt directly at the hole and putt straight into a bunker, or you've got to putt away from the hole to try and set it up for your par putt, if you like. And there's also a burn in front of the hole, so you can't afford to be short either. So it's really exacting on your approach shot, and I love that. And then I'm going to wrap it up with Mount Lofty, Soph. So finally, we've got a dog leg left to right, which normally you and I, because you hit a draw and I hit a fade, we like the right to left shape, but this one's left to right. Another great use of elevation, so a beautiful aspect off the tee. Cool tee shot. Again, you can attack. You can maybe try and move bunker and cut off a bit of the corner that goes around the right, but there is trouble on the right. You can lay back with a fairway wood or even a long iron if you like. And then again, the approach is just wonderful. You've got a creek short, but if you go long, you've got a really, really tough up and down to a sloping green. So it's a real feature hole of their course at Mount Lofty. So I'm going to put in the 4th there. So that's your best 4ths and my best 4ths. Soph, you know where our show finishes. It finishes with Who Am I? You ready for another crack?
Oh, yeah, let's go.
All right, Soph, here we go. So again, the aim of this game, and you can play along with us at home, I am going to act out as a whole of South Australian golf, and Sophie is going to try and guess with my clues which hole I actually am. And you can see if you can try and get this before Sophie does. So here we go, Soph. Who am I? I am a par 4 playing just 350 metres from the blue tees and 302 metres from the red tees. I'm one of the shortest par 4s on the course. Despite my lack of length, I play really tough. I'm index 4 for the men, and I reckon I'm index 8 or 9 for the women. It's one of those two. I couldn't quite work it out with the limited time I had to do my research.
Yeah, only the whole week that you've had to do the research.
Only the whole week, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I had to think about what questions I was going to ask you as you did all the research on professional golf as well. Clue number 3, my tee ball plays uphill and my approach to the green is back down the hill. Okay, here we go. Go on.
But Kionga, but, you know.
It's not the 4th at Kionga.
No.
Nice try.
That's longer than 350 metres off the blue tees. But I was like, this is starting to sound like a hole we've already talked about.
Here we go. There is a bunker to clear about 100 metres from the blue tees, and there is a big cavernous fairway bunker over at about the landing area on the left. And while we're on the bunkers, there are 2 greenside bunkers. One's front left and one is centre right. Okay. Still pondering over there. I can see you on the screen looking towards the ceiling. I think you're going to start to hone in on it now.
Well, I'm still pondering. But, you know, this is so hard. We're talking about all 18 holes of any golf course within South Australia, just so we're clear.
No, don't worry. I didn't want to make it easy for you, Soph. We're going to have a bit of fun with this. Now, sandy waste is a real feature here.
Okay.
It's on the right of the fairway. It's on the left of the fairway. And a large section cuts across the fairway. And here's another clue. I reckon this might be the kicker. Smart golfers check my pin location from an earlier tee block.
Ooh. Well, I'm thinking, is it in Grange East? Or am I on the wrong track?
You're on the wrong course.
I'm on the wrong course. Okay.
My green, here's another clue. My green is one of the most photographed in South Australian golf. So I'm just going to go back through. Par 4, 350 for the men, 302 for the women, uphill over a bunker that you've got to clear about 100 metres out, big bunker on the left, sandy waste both sides, big sandy waste area from about 100 metres out to about 40 metres out of the front of the green. You check my pin location from an earlier tee block. My green is one of the most photographed in South Australian golf.
It's the 11th at Royal Adelaide?
It's the 11th at Royal Adelaide, Sophie. Well done. You know what I do have here? I might just drop it in post-production, but I've got a little, round of applause clap. So I might find that for you. Yes. So the other clues I had, my green and surrounds sit in a natural amphitheatre, and the best views of my green are from the 8th tee and nearby pavilion. So well done.
Well,
you haven't had a miss yet.
I haven't had a miss, but I was just wondering where is the sandy? Did you say there's sandy waste on the left?
Yeah, there's sandy waste left of the left bunker. Don't worry, I know because I've hit it in there all the time.
I was just trying to think. I was like, is there sandy? Because 11th came to me at sandy waste comment, and then I was like, I've never been in the sandy waste on the left.
Yeah, I should just say what's on the middle of the fairway because that's normally where you live. Unlike scrubber golfers like me.
I've been down the right sandy waste, but I'm sitting there thinking, no, that's more trees on the left, isn't it? But honestly, I haven't really been on the left sandy waste.
Yeah, I've been in both of them, and I've been in the big sandy waste area off the fall off the end of the fairway there. So I've seen it all. No, I know it. That's why I was happy to talk about it with you. Well done, mate. Great job. Love all of your thoughts on professional golf once again. Love your thoughts on the Canadian amateur. great chat. We'll do it all again next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone have fun watching the AIG Women's Open. I cannot wait, particularly because the Solheim Cup's coming up. So for a lot of these players, it's a really big deal, this Open, because they're all, particularly the Europeans, are really all going for this Solheim Cup position in the team.
And get yourself to the Royal Yacht Squadron, Friday lunch, Friday dinner, Sundays, whenever you want to go. Absolutely well worth the effort to make the way down there. Thanks to the Royal Yacht South Australian Yacht Squadron. Thank you to Sophie Hilditch. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks so much, guys. See you later.